All right, let's jump in. Too Tall Toby, 240603. This is a sheet metal part. I've already gone through it just to make sure everything's going to work right. And I've already set my properties, but I do want to review how to do that, especially with this planar first wall. So we have let's jump in. We're in grams. Okay, so we've got um, with sheet metal, there's always a couple of different ways to start, mainly the extrude or planar method. I'm going to use planar with this front view here. So we'll start with a planar first wall and on the front plane. I'm going to start in the bottom left corner and uh, over. Uh, oh, I did not mean to make that equal. We will fix that. All right, let's find that equal sign. And nope. There we go. Delete that. Okay. Um, so a lot of the dimensions exist here. I'm going to drop them on. The overall height is 60, and we do want to keep in mind where that's going to when we start getting into our um, bend for the sheet metal wall. Okay. Um, so these two dimensions are not given to me. I have that the circle down here has a radius of 8 and that the center of the circle is 12. So that could be calculated, but I'm going to show you that from the circle tool, there is an option for 3 tangent. So I can make it tangent to this wall and to this wall and to this wall, and then trim off the pieces that aren't a part of that. And that'll give me the 2 dimensions that I need. I need this 8 and I need this to be 12. Okay. I also could have done the math and then used a full round outside of here, but I like the way that this introduces a different option that I haven't used typically. Okay. All right. Okay, so there's our planar first wall. Normally these are going to be green. Let's double check the thickness. And this kind of hides a little bit. So I can go into parameters associated with the sheet metal part. And I've got that the sheet metal thickness, and that should be 4. The sheet metal thickness is 4 for this part, default wall thickness. The bend radius should also be 4. Default bend radius here is 4. That's good. You can see I have the steel assigned. I don't really need a lot of these other options for this particular part, but that's where they're living is, again, right click parameter. So you would think that on the planar, it would show up here as a thickness. There, you can see it, you can confirm it, but it's not available to modify there. All right, let's jump into this wall here. So I'm going to use that as a flange. And to make it go to the right, I'm actually going to click on the left edge. Full 90 degrees, that's good. I want the overall thickness to stick out here is 35. And I'm going to do some checking. So if I look at this from the right view, the thickness is fully inside. The 35 is the right full width. You can double check here. No, where is it? This one, right? And I can see that the bend is putting the profile on essentially where the original edge was. Okay. All right, we'll come back to the slots in a second. So let's go with this edge up here. So this one, we're going to do a flange. And again, we're going to click this edge so it folds away. The overall length is 140, but I need this to be shorter. And let's go to bend position. Here, I actually want to keep my original edge and then add the wall past it. So I'm going with this 40. So I want to keep the original line and then add all the round and the geometry past that original line. I know I want this number to come up, and I see that it's giving me a distance here of how much I'm coming in away from the end of the chain. That's not intuitive to me. So my other options when I look here are it goes to the entire end of the chain. It's a blind depth with a value coming back from the end of the chain, or I can do two selected. Well, I know the number I want, so I think I'm just gonna build a plane down from the top because that's the number I know. I want to come down here 55 because that is this distance here. And now when I resume, I will choose two selected and pick that plane. And that's going to keep that 55 value that I know. All right, we are so close. All we need now is a couple of rounds and a couple of slots. So let's start with the slots. We'll do an extrude cut on this plane. I'm going to add a shape center racetrack. We'll rotate this 90 degrees. All right. And let's see here. We've got the center is 28. The overall height is 12. And then a couple of more dimensions will go from the end to this point. That's going to be 15. And side to point will be 13. Okay. And it automatically cuts all the way through and takes care of that for us. Let's do the same sort of thing up here. We're going to extrude a cut on here. I'm going to start with the far right one. Again, pallet tool, center racetrack, rotate it 90 degrees. This one has a height of 5 in the center, and the thickness is 20. And we're going to place it. All right, so we're going to place it 30 from the right and 25 from the top. And I'm pretty sure, yep, the 25 goes to that top point. You can see it a little better if we hide our constraints, I think. Okay. All right, so now I got another one. Creo does not have a sketch pattern option, but they do have copy and paste. So instead of select, if I go like that, there we go, middle click to turn that off. If I select those, I get the constraints, I get dimensions. I do have the ability to switch to just sketcher geometry. Okay, and then I'm just going to Control C, Control V, and I've pasted it. So I'm back into this same rotate resize. My parallel translation is going to be -60. My normal translation is going to be 0. My angle is 0, my scale is 0 or 1. So that gives me a copy paste of the same geometry at the correct location. So big fan of that tool. It's a really nice option. All right, and then last, what we're going to do is just drop on some rounds. That lives under engineering. Okay, so we're going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it says 8, round it 8 in 7 places, so the radius is 8. And that is all good. All right. So what we're going to do is check our mass. It was 681. Beautiful. All right. So just a quick review there. Some of the things we like to use, the slot tool clear or the rounded racetrack from the pallet tool. Here we used copy and paste. We used a 3-tangent circle to get the arc cut out. Paid careful attention to which way our flange was going. Had to dig in a little bit for the bend option here. And while I could have measured the length of how long that edge initially was and had it come back 67, I used an embedded datum plane instead to extrude this down the 55. So there's a sheet metal tutorial for you. I hope you enjoyed it and stay quirky.